one Taylor Swift fan podcast. Oh wait, that's not the show. That's my other show. What show are we doing here today? Oh, this is the Boudoir one. How disappointing for all of y'all. Very parched again. Did you get stuck in that snowstorm the other day? We didn't get it too bad, but I was home watching. Like, people in the middle of the country, where's that, Kansas? They got crushed. And that was heading towards us, but we lucked out a little bit. Just scooted to the south of us. So we got a couple of flakes, but nothing super major. So I hope if you're still stuck on a highway somewhere in Kansas or Missouri, or where those people were stuck, this show may lull you to sleep so you can sleep to spring when it thaws out there and you could finally get home. So just listen to the soothing sounds of my voice. I'll put you to sleep in just a few moments. Now, we got lucky. Only got a little bit of that now. Now again, there's like another one. I just heard we're supposed to possibly get another giant snowstorm this Saturday, which is just like 2 or 3 days away. What can you do? It's like really not that wintry anymore. Like, hardly ever snows, so get a couple of flakes. I guess it's exciting. So wherever you may be in the universe of weather, hopefully you had a good week and you're not stuck on a highway somewhere. And other than that, how you doing? How are you? Doing okay? How's your January going? Good? Good. Glad to hear. New year, new you. Not so much, huh? Same old, same old. Yep. Yeah, I know. I'm thirsty again today, and I wasn't even running around. Well, I was just doing some errands. I wasn't out doing my exercises. First of all, I think today I would have gone. It's like the wind is like blowing through like 50 miles an hour. It's still icy with that wind chill. It's super, super cold. But I had like a medical procedure the other day, and I have to stay put for a couple days. So, and I don't want to talk about it because it's a little gross. But I have to not exercise for a few days, but I will be back. I will be back. So today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about boudoir. And if this is your first time here, my name is Michael. I'm a women's photographer from New Jersey. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of women through my career, and we have a little show where we answer some questions about boudoir photography, because if you've given this show any degree of attention, you could see it's a mess out there. It's not so simple, and we want everyone to have a fun, safe experience when they're choosing their boudoir photographer. So we did a little show, answer a few questions, try to help you out. So thanks for stopping by and joining. Hopefully this can be helpful. Every week we try to answer a question that you may have. Yes, you may have, and you should ask if you're going to work with a woman's photographer. So that's what we do. And did you catch last week's episode? Cute bridal poses. Cute. We were looking at some poses. Bridal season is coming up. So we got a lot of brides that suddenly panic book during January, thinking they're too late, want to get their spots for the spring for their bridal album. So this is kind of where you start to hear from these women getting married. So we're going over some bridal poses because women are always saying, I don't know, what are some cute things I should do for my bridal album? So I told them, and I'm bossy. So if you're interested, and you can listen to last week's episode, just click down one. It's right there, bridal poses. And that was like video. So if you want to see the video, you watch on YouTube. Spotify has video. Everywhere else is just audio. So you can see the video on that if you want to play along at home and see the poses. So that was a good show. Haven't done photos. I haven't done a video show. You know what I need to do? I need to get a guest. I haven't had a guest in a while. I should try to get a guest. We'll get a guest maybe on this show too. But that was a good show. And so this week we have a new question. And it's an important question, something we talk about a bit. But this week's show answers the question, if I could only ask one question, what is the most important question I should ask a boudoir photographer? So that's what we're going to talk about today. That's the topic of our show, but you know that already because you saw it in the title. So we're going to get into that a little bit, and we're going to arm you with some important information that you should use when you are talking and interviewing your photographer. So that way you don't wind up with crap, and a bad session, bad photos, bad experience, bad therapy, you name it. So we're going to chat about that a little bit this week. And that's it. So how are you? Doing okay? Doing good? You coming in for a wedding session or just a regular session? Anniversary? Well, thanks for stopping in. You don't have to participate. You could just sit there and listen. I'll do all the talking this week. And we brought up our question. And hopefully you are not booking blind. Because first of all, I'm gonna smack you if you're just going on some photographer's website and filling out the form and booking. Book. Don't do that. You have to interview these photographers and ask a whole bunch of questions. But today, if you're going to ask just one, now, of course, I'm not going to stop at just one. But if you ask just one question, and one question only, that's what we're going to chat about today. And that one question you should be asking them, I don't have a drum roll, or I'd play a drum roll. I think I have a harp. I have applause. Applause. Doesn't really warrant applause though, but that one question that you should ask is, how much experience do you have as a photographer? If you can only ask one thing, that's the one question you should be asking anyone, man, woman, somewhere in the middle, whatever's going on these days. Because people, for some reason, assume that all photographers are the same, or all photographers are good, or just because somebody has a website, that means they're good, or because you got a tip from your coworker that her friend Betty just started boudoir photography and you should be giving her a shot for your wedding album. People get pretty stupid when it comes to picking a woman's photographer, and that's really bad for you because it's not a good situation out there. And if you're just relying on Google, on a friend, on a website, without asking a bunch of questions, you're rolling the dice. That's all you're doing is rolling the dice. And a lot of people go, well, I was on a computer, I was using Google, and they popped up on Google. And this isn't even alcohol. I don't even drink. But when I hear people say that, it makes me want to start drinking. All right, I want you to come in a little closer. Come in a little closer. And I want to explain something to you. Google knows nothing about that photographer. They know nothing. They know nothing. Other than the fact that they created a website and used the word photographer in there, and then they use some funky system that they use to rank photographers. They know nothing about that photographer. Google doesn't vet photographers. No one from Google calls them up and asks them any questions. They just use their little robots to scan the internet, find keywords in there, photographer, oh, this person must be a photographer, and they put them in a list of people in front of you. Google does not know if that photographer has any skill. Google does not know if that photographer has any experience. It does not know if they're professional. It does not know whether 2 weeks ago that photographer was an MLM boss babe and knows nothing about photography. It doesn't know anything about them. Nothing. Other than they have some keywords of boudoir photography somewhere in their website, and through their algorithm that nobody knows and don't believe anybody can tell you how it works, they sort of made it onto a list for your area, and Google is showing you that result. That's all it means. And if you go by whatever order those things pop up, you are rolling the dice, because it means nothing other than they have that word on their website. Now, you would never assume all restaurants are great, would you? And I always talk about kitchen nightmares, right? Well, how could somebody open a restaurant and it'd be terrible? Well, apparently it happens all the time. You've all seen kitchen nightmares, right? Well, boudoir nightmares is the exact same thing. Just because someone calls themselves a pro and has a website means nothing. There could be turmoil, chaos, mold, you name it's going on under the hood there with these photographers. And you can't get food poisoning from a photographer, but you would get the equivalent, whatever the photography equivalent of that is. You've seen it on TV. You've seen these nutty people who have these restaurants that have no clue, and their employees have no clue, and the places are dirty and poorly run, and they're moldy food in their refrigerators, and it's just chaos. Would you think that photography is any different than that? It is not. And that restaurant on Kitchen Nightmare showed up in someone's Google list. Where do we go? I want to get tacos in Albany. Tacos. And one of those Kitchen Nightmares restaurants shows up in that list. And you go, that looks like a good one. And then you get food poisoning and you have vomiting and diarrhea for 3 straight days. Not pleasant, right? Same thing with boudoir photography. And you may still get vomiting and diarrhea. But if you don't ask questions and do a bit more research, I can't help you. You know, like I said, you're rolling the dice. It may be okay, but there's a good chance you're in for a little bit of a Kitchen Nightmares kind of experience. You know, so going blindly through those Google listings, like I said, you're rolling the dice. So you say, Mike, what the heck do I do? Well, that's why you're tuning into this show, because we're going to help you out a little bit here. You have to dig deeper. You must. You have to. If you see a list of a couple of prospective photographers, you got to pick up the phone. I know as much as you don't want to talk to anybody in the 2000s. For your own good, you got to do it. You got to pick up a phone. You got to call somebody. You got to chat with them. You got to ask them a bunch of questions. And if you can only ask one, you better be asking about their experience. And that's all I'm going to say. Because Google has no idea how long that person has been calling themselves, quote, air quote, photographer. Right? Pro photographer. They don't know. Google doesn't know. Now, weirdly, I did see now one thing that may be churning. I saw some listings now where it was showing up like in that little Google map thing, like 10 years plus experience, 3 years plus experience. So maybe they're tracking how long they've had a Google business listing, but that's not going to be on the website. But you have to make a consultation with a photographer. You have to. You have to. And ask them about their experience and how long they've been doing this. Photography is not easy. And once again, with my dopey analogies, you would never assume that if someone was playing the guitar for 2 or 3 weeks that they would be good, right? Because it takes a long time to learn. So why would a photographer doing this only for 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months be any good at it? They're not. But you wouldn't know that because anybody can call themselves a pro. You know, I can't wake up tomorrow morning and say, I want to play golf like Tiger Woods. I'm going to go buy the same clubs he has. And I can't go to like a PGA event and tell people I'm pro and I'm playing in golf tournaments because you got to win your way in or however that works. But in photography, anybody can call themselves a pro. They could wake up one day, know nothing about photography, and you know these wacky women, they're like, I'm going to change the world. And then they start calling themselves pro photographers, and they know nothing about photography. But yet, they're going to pop up online, and you're going to choose that person if you don't ask some questions. And you're going to wind up with crap. And that's just how it's going to go. You have to ask them about their experience, how long they've been doing what they're doing, and not only that, how long they were into a photography before they suddenly decided to become pro. That's just as important. Because you don't wake up one day and decide to become pro. Your best bet is someone who has been interested in photography for some time before that. Like you don't wake up and become a pro golfer. You're an amateur for a long time. And then somehow you develop your skills to becoming a pro. You don't wake up and just become a pro golfer. You don't wake up and just become a pro photographer. So if that person, when you ask them how long have you been involved in photography before you turn pro, and they're like, what? That's a bad sign. Because it means that's exactly what they did. They woke up one day, and I'm going to fix women. And now they're calling themselves a pro. Again, having no interest in photography, no interest in learning. Because the best people that become the best photographers, have a genuine interest in photography, doing it for themselves, for the beauty of it, for the joy of it. They want to make beautiful photographs. They're doing it for themselves because they like it. And then somehow, organically, that turns into a business at some point. So they should be doing photography for some period of time before they started calling themselves a pro. I told you it was going to be worth listening to this show. Are you taking notes? My God. So you see, I know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to help you out here. So you've got to dig deeper. You've got to ask about their experience, because with these crazy women out there, they're going to market themselves as pro, like I said, and for all Google knows, they've been at their job for like 3 weeks. Do you know how many MLM boss babes are out there who can't cut it in the pyramid scheme business and then wake up one day and are like, I'm going to be a woman's photographer? Their pyramid scheme isn't going so good, and they go out to lunch with their friend Janie, and she takes a picture of her Chick-fil-A sandwich, and her friend Janie is like, that's a really good picture. You should be a photographer. She's like, you think? And like 2 days later, she's calling herself like a pro photographer. And you're going to wind up with her if you don't ask these questions. Google has no idea how long someone has been a photographer or a pro or anything about their experience or their technical ability. And it takes a long time to learn how to photo or to take photos of women. Again, think golf. You're going to learn golf in one day. You're going to learn to play a guitar in one day. As much as they don't want you to think it takes time and talent, just like anything else. You just got to have that ability. And just because someone calls them a pro doesn't mean they have any talent whatsoever or experience. But yet they show up on Google and you're going to be like, I'm going to pick that one. And you know nothing about it. And you're walking into a disaster situation. So I'm going to break my own rules. I'm going to tell you a few other questions to ask too. So I'm not going to get too deep into this, but ask them about their editing skills. You edit your own photos? How long have you been editing? And here's why. I want you to come in real close. A lot of photographers have no respect for your privacy, especially these boss babe photographers. And what they do is they are taking your private boudoir photos. And because I'm the CEO of my business, I'm going to be growing my business and I have to focus on the big picture. You know what that means? That means they're lazy and they don't want to learn how to edit. And so what they do is they take your private photos and ship them off to like gig workers, like Fiverr people to do the editing. So they're sending your private naked photos without your consent and sending them off to who knows who to edit them on some laptop in India or wherever, Pakistan, and who knows what happens to them from there. Someone they're paying a couple bucks to edit these photos. That's how much they're concerned about your privacy. So that's why you want to ask, well, now I've got your interest, right? You don't think that's happening? You're lying to yourself. Boy, this is really good that you tuned into the show because you had no idea that was happening. Well, it happens all through photography because photographers now are increasingly lazy and do not want to edit their own work. So they just send it out. Now, if it's photos of a dog, it may not be a big deal. If it's photos of you that are private, huge deal. But they don't know and they don't even think about this. They're sending your photos out to someone named Jagdish in India who knows where those photos are going to go or wind up afterwards. But now you're all around the world because some boss babe CEO did not want to learn how to edit photos. So there you go. Are you outsourcing your editing? Another thing to consider, and this has been a growing thing now for a long time, but you want to find out if that photographer is a fixer. Are they a fixer? Are they going to fix you? Are you broken? There is a whole gangload of women boudoir photographers who are not satisfied with just being a photographer. They need to heal people. they need to become more important. And then over the past decade, they've somehow decided that photos aren't enough and they don't even want to take photos. They see the universe as just full of broken, damaged women for them to fix. When they pick up that camera with their MLM boss babe skills of 3 weeks, they become magically empowered to heal women. And not only are they healers, but they see every woman as damaged. So, you just think you're going in to get a cute anniversary gift, and you go in there again with Boudoir Ashley, you're going to get 90 minutes of therapy on how someone's going to rebuild you. We're going to rebuild you, and I'm going to make you strong. I'm going to make you see yourself like you've never seen yourself before, because life is unfair. We all know that women are all damaged. You have trauma. You have trauma, and I'm going to heal you. And this is exactly what you'll get for 90 minutes, that you are wounded, and they're going to fix you. So, you have to ask if there's a fixer, because let me tell you, most women are doing okay, and even if they weren't, I don't think they'd be looking for a boudoir photographer to fix them. You'd probably be going to a trained mental health professional. So, do you want a fixer? Probably not. And they're all out there. It's landmines, baby. You thought boudoir was just getting a cute, fun gift? Wrong. They're there to heal you because they know better than you. So, you want a fixer? You want 90 minutes of unwanted and unasked for therapy? Probably not. So you're thinking, geez, Mike, what else could go wrong? What else do I need to ask? How about privacy? How many boudoir photographers do you know on their website talk anything about their privacy? What do you mean? Like, what the heck do you think happens to your photos after your session is done? What is the photographer doing with them? Are they leaving them on a laptop? Leaving them on an external hard drive that could get stolen? It could get hacked. They can get a virus. And again, your photos are going all over the universe and shared everywhere. Again, are they thinking about you? What is their privacy policy? You know how many boudoir photographers list what they do with your data, like after your session? Like 0.1% of them. And you think that would be pretty important, right? Right? You think they're doing that? No, because they have no plan. And again, that is a real big And I would not be booking with anybody that didn't have a plan. Do you want your naked pictures again, just cruising around on somebody's laptop and get stolen because she got in a fight with her ex-boyfriend who bought her that laptop a couple years ago? Now he wants it back. So he takes her MacBook in the big breakup and all the other stuff that he bought her, takes it home. Now he has all these pictures. And then his friend comes over and is like, look at all these pictures. And they're sharing them all over the internet. Is that what you want? Is that where you want to wind up again? Your pictures being spread all over the internet? See, I told you it was rough. I told you it was rough out there. You have to ask about data protection, especially when it comes to boudoir. So, now do you see why it's so important to chat with these photographers and ask questions? You get it? Do you understand the value of a real conversation and that Google doesn't know and that these photographers are not going to be putting on their website, I've been doing this for 4.5 weeks? You think they're really going to be putting anything like that up there? No, of course not. Not only that, you want to hear about them. You will hear from them. You want to hear their passion in their voice. You want to hear their professionalism. You want to hear detailed responses to your questions. You want to gauge their credibility, right? You can't do that by reading AI texts that were probably generated on a website. And remember, trust is not built through a website. It is built through human interaction. Thank you. So, you thought this was going to be easy, right? You thought it was going to be so simple. Allow me to take a sip. Because now you're stressing me out, and I don't need to be stressed. It's not very easy. It's not so simple to find a photographer. There's a million things that could go wrong, and it's your private information. And these photographers are blissfully unaware, or they don't care, or if it's something they haven't even thought about. Oh, I never thought about that. And you just roll the dice and hope that you wind up with someone who's on the ball a little bit. See what I'm getting at? He said he looks ridiculous, but he makes sense. He looks crazy, kind of creepy looking, but what he's saying makes sense. I got a little nauseous when I saw him on the video, but it kind of makes sense. So, I encourage you, when you are booking, pick up that phone and have a real conversation with any potential photographer and ask hard questions. If they ain't thinking about you, you got to look out for yourself. You know, prioritize experience, professionalism over any kind of flashy marketing or I'm going to change the world. The more you see changing lives on a website, the more that pops up, I'd be going to another website. So there you go. How was that? 26 minutes of dense information. And that was only basically one question we were answering today. And I threw in a few others, but see what I'm talking about? You see how it's a dicey universe out there for these poor women? You got to ask a bunch of questions. No, don't assume just because there's a woman they know what they're doing. Don't assume that. It has nothing to do with it. These dicey MLM babes, like I said, means nothing. Doesn't mean they have any skill just because she cares more. Doesn't work that way. And you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. I'm not trying to say men are better. You got to do your homework. You got to do your homework when you're out there looking for a boudoir photographer. And when you do, when you put in the effort and you put in the work and you ask the questions, you'll walk away with a much better experience. You'll walk away with photos that you like. You'll walk away with a smile on your face and thinking, I'm glad I did that. That was fun. And now I have these cute pictures that I can look back and enjoy for years to come. And you walk away with a positive experience going to that photographer. And don't assume that's everywhere. Don't assume that just because someone is using all that language, that boudoir, I'm empowering women, I'm changing, it means nothing. It means nothing. Ask those questions. Trust me. You'll be glad that you did. So that's what I got for you this week. How was that? How was that for a lot of information? That's a lot, right? So re-listen to this show. Take notes. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I had someone 2 weeks ago, it was around Christmas, maybe after Christmas, reached out to me. What do you think about this photographer? I took a look at it. You know, I don't want to get into details about people. I'm not here to insult or talk about people, but, you know, if you're not sure, just reach out to me. Send me a note. Send me an email. Send me a text. You know, because I don't want you to wander into a bad photography experience. So that's what we got for this week. So I want to thank you all for stopping in. I know if you're listening to the show, you're probably in the hunt for a photographer. So take your time, talk to them, and have a good experience. That's what I got for you this week. Thank you for stopping in. Again, my name is Michael. And have a good week. We're doing pretty good getting this on weekly. So we'll be coming at you next week. A new show, new episode. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.